Stay tuned at the end of this episode for a quick preview of episode 1. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is going to be your just short intro episode, so you get to know each of your hosts here, because we don't want to bore you to death with the intros every episode. Kind of suck. So we'll start with my beautifully attractive, not my wife, but Jay.
All right. Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jay. I am 31, going on 32 years young. Met these fine folks through coffee, coincidentally, most notably Starbucks. A little bit about me. I grew up in the great state of Maine, the Pine Tree State, in the good old town of Saco, Maine. Went to Thornton Academy High School.
Is it named Saco because it was a Saco shit?
Well, anybody sign on from Saco onto our Patreon, you can be the one to explain that little banter to them.
Honestly, they'll probably agree.
Yeah, I mean, what, 7 people there? I'm not worried.
Probably. Graduated high school in 2007 and did a 8-year active duty career in the Navy. Got out in 2015, continued on for 3 more years of reserve duty, and made my way down here and found myself at the University of Maryland pursuing a degree in history. That's my little background, and then I'm going to tell you guys a little something about me. I'm going to give you my 3 favorite male actors in the order that I would sleep with them.
As
this
one
is
does.
going to be interesting.
Yes. So number 1 is very obviously Bradley Cooper from A Star Is Born. Like, who would not
I disagree.
want that just
See, I never saw
rough
that movie.
cowboy, raspy voice man to just plow you on the kitchen table? Like,
No, Wedding
ugh.
Crashers,
boy.
Bradley Cooper is the one to go with. If you're
No,
going to do
that's-
Bradley Cooper,
That's second.
okay.
I'll give Bradley Cooper from Wedding Crashers second, but Bradley Cooper with that
I'm
felt
with you.
Clean cut Bradley Cooper.
with that felt hat pissing himself at the Grammys, like,
It really does it for you.
Dreamboat. All right, so that's my number 1. My number 2 is got to be Matt Damon from The Martian. Like, the dude farmed in his own shit. Like, he's super smart.
Really? I'm disappointed in this
I think
choice.
that you're just mostly into older men, is what I'm gathering.
No, I
right
think
now.
Jay's looking. What Jay really wants is a man to support him, and so he's found the people that not necessarily are the most attractive, but have that very hardy
Well, you're gonna be surprised.
outdoorsman.
Oh, is it
What's
Hardy
Third
Wallet?
choice.
You're gonna be really surprised by my 3rd choice, and I think so are you.
Share.
No. So after
Don't diss
after-
on Cher.
Hold on.
Jesus Christ.
After the Matt Damon from The Martian, my 3rd choice is, because I can just throw him around, is Dave Franco from Now You See Me. Like, he's just small and petite and physically fit. I think he'd give me a real roundabout in the old bedroom.
And the old sack.
So now that you know that, I'm going to hand you off to my wife, our other co-host,
Steven.
They are a little married.
A little bit.
Over to you, Lily.
Oh, are you sure you don't want to go, Steve?
No, it's fine. We determined we're basically the same person. So,
That's fair.
you know.
I don't know. Okay. My name's Lillie. I'm married to my really handsome, amazing co-host, Meg.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay. We have 2 really, really cool dogs. One who is a very good boy, and one who is an okay girl, but also very expensive.
Aren't they all?
Yeah. I work for a YouTube channel, which is pretty neat. Getting integrated into that. I love coffee. I think Chicago is the coolest place in the U.S. because it is home to the Cubs. Go Cubs. And is also the setting to the most underrated show in television history, a show called Happy Endings. It is not a porn. It is just a really hilarious
I'm sure
show.
there is a porn
And
about Happy
I'm
Endings.
sure there
Such a
is
not that I would
plenty of
know.
them, to be honest. And finally, because I know everybody is wondering, my top 3 enemies are in this order. Number 1, James Vanderbeek.
I don't know who that is.
Yes,
you don't
do.
need to.
Dawson's Creek.
James Vanderbeek is top number 1. Number 2,
So, well, hold on. Let's back up a second. Why is he your number 1 enemy?
So a few years ago, and by a few years ago, I mean about 10 years ago, I was a nanny and I watched a lot of TV for this newborn infant. I watched Dawson's Creek from the very beginning and I worked through it. It was a lot of work.
I didn't know that was a show until like this week. So
just now, yeah. No.
It's on Netflix and I'm watching
6
it.
seasons. I think there's like 150 freaking hours of this show. So I get like 140 hours into it and I'm almost done. And then I start watching another show that has James Van Der Beek in it simultaneously called Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, and I was really excited about it. So I'm watching it. I'm almost done with Dawson's Creek. And then James fucking Van Der Beek shows up and ruins the end of this show for me. Okay. He's my number one, and I have words for James Van Der Beek.
Okay.
Number 2, Easton Corbin. Do you know who that is?
I mean,
he's a country singer.
Yeah, I was about
You're
to say,
right.
Is he a country singer?
He is a country singer.
Easton, right?
I booked a ticket to his concert.
Okay. I'm sure he handled this personally.
He sure didn't. And then Chicago flooded, which isn't even true. I think I got like half an inch of rain. He canceled the concert, never refunded my fucking ticket. And then third of my mortal enemies list is ISIS.
I'm glad to know James Van Der Beek takes the cake.
Beat ISIS.
Like the Hindu god?
No.
Oh, like the caliphate.
ISIS.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yes. In order. James Van Der Beek, Easton Corbin,
So what she's
and ISIS.
saying is if she had a gun with 2 bullets and it was James Van Der Beek and ISIS, she'd shoot James Van Der Beek twice.
I wouldn't shoot him. I would just have words with him.
Hello, everyone. I'm Meg.
Short for Megan.
Maybe I wanted people to think my name was Margaret. You don't know.
What if Megan is short for Meg?
Meg for Margaret?
Thatcher?
Sure.
What? My name is Meg. I was going to say that I'm married to the sexy man to my left, Steven, but I don't know. Maybe I won't say that anymore.
You already did. And I will not edit that out. I can edit it to make it sound like you said it.
It just comes through choppy.
I do like him a little bit. I'm an Aries. That means nothing at all. And I'm from a little place.
But worth mentioning.
It's worth mentioning. You know, if Elle Woods could mention it, so could I. I'm from a little place called the San Juan Islands in Washington State. Whoop whoop. West Coast, Best Coast. And we are, I guess, a military family. And that's what moved us to the East Coast.
But if you hadn't been moved to the East Coast specifically to here in Annapolis, you would have never met us.
I guess so. And yes, we all met through coffee. Lillie and I worked at the Starbucks together. I met Jay there the first time and I scared him.
Let's make it clear that you still scare me.
I'm honestly a very nice person, you guys. I don't know what Jay's issue is.
Sure. Yeah, I'm married to you and still waiting.
Still waiting. I met my husband through coffee as well. I was working at a little coffee shop, as you find them on every half block in Washington State. And I was flirting with him for like 5 months before he even took notice. So that was a challenge. Yeah, right?
Honestly.
That's dudes.
Yeah.
My good friend Lillie and I here, we bonded over things like the attractiveness of Jeff Goldblum.
Beautiful man.
He's beautiful. We love him.
And The Handmaid's Tale, we bonded over that too, briefly.
Handmaid's Tale? Good stuff. So Jeff, if you're listening to this, I love you.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey, Daddy.
All right.
We have 2 dogs and a little baby. So if you hear noises, it's one of our children.
All right. Well, my name's Steven. We'll start with my drink of choice. Obviously, I love beer, IPAs especially. However, I like Dogfish Head, but that's just because I was down in Florida.
Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA.
Yeah.
Beautiful brew.
So good.
Man.
But being in Washington, there's a lot of breweries there, and I was able to do a few tours.
I miss the breweries. Please send me booze.
I know. And so you get a lot of the very microbrewery type IPAs.
You are running a 50-mile race in less than 7 days.
Yeah. 7 days from today.
That was our dog.
Yeah. 7 days. Well, running is a strong term. I'm going to be attempting to finish a race that may not even happen. But yeah, so if I'm going to give my top 3 male actors, first would be George Clooney.
Oh
my gosh, no, that is not a cliche.
That
because
is
correct. I'm watching ER right now, and he is a sexy, sexy man.
Oh, man.
Unpopular opinion. Don't think he's cute.
But you know what? His wife, too. If we're going
Now,
to do this.
Amal.
Have you seen her?
See, I don't
And
think
she's
she's
brilliant.
Like, she
Yeah.
is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll give
Oh,
you that.
man. Come
She
on.
practices international law in The Hague.
I don't know. I think George Clooney, the Silver Fox, I know. Maybe
I
it's
love
cliche.
him. I
Yeah.
love him.
I know you
I don't
do.
think that's cliche at all. I think
Thank
that's
you.
just a good choice.
And I will
I'm
preface
not
all of this by saying this is mainly who I'd really want to just like sit down and have a drink with, not necessarily want to ruffle my fingers
I'll sit
through
down
their
and have a
chest hair.
drink with you, George.
All right. Well, you say that about a lot of men. So my number 2.
Hold
which-
on. I wonder if I can guess.
All right. Who are you going to guess? I'll give you one guess each. Start
One
with Lillie.
guess each?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I
Yeah.
don't even know,
I
honestly.
think I'm going to go with one.
Okay.
I don't know why. I have no basis for this.
Go.
John Wayne.
What? George W. Bush. No?
Matt Ryan.
Close.
Ooh.
I mean, not really close, but
Oh.
there's no closeness here at all. Clint Eastwood Jr.
So close
Okay,
to George
so
Bush.
I was thinking Clint Eastwood, but I went with Matt Ryan.
I went with
Clint Eastwood
John
Jr.?
Wayne because like
Yeah, I don't
old and
really-
wrinkly.
who's the Jr.?
Jay was probably the closest just because of the
Genre.
genre.
So are we talking about Clint Eastwood or his son?
His son.
Well, have you ever seen them side by side at the
I
same
have
age?
seen his son. Have you seen his son, Jay?
I have.
Okay.
What do you think?
Side by side at the same
He's
age?
not even your top 3?
Identical.
Oh, man.
Identical side by So obviously Clint Eastwood, right.
I mean, that's a solid choice.
So real quick, fun fact before we wrap up this episode, this little mini, I did want to mention, because we've talked about Clint Eastwood, the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I don't remember his name, but the guy who played the Ugly. When they were filming, they were not able to book enough rooms in the area for filming. And so the Ugly had to room with Clint Eastwood. And
God, what a lucky man.
there was only one.
Was he?
yes.
There was only one bed. And so
Is
he
this a bad
has,
dad joke?
No. This
Oh,
is
okay.
this is
That's
true.
a true story.
Okay.
He has claimed and has maintained that he is still the only man alive to have ever slept with Clint Eastwood. So anyway, well, with that, and now we're haunted podcast, since we've not talked at all about it, is going to be a podcast on all things paranormal, haunty, horrifying, and a little bit of histories, mysteries, and conspiracies thrown in on the side. You put all that together and you find out now we're all haunted. So with that, I hope you enjoy our show. Jay has one last little.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, any of our listeners want to send us over some questions or learn more about us, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram under And Now We're Haunted.
All right. Well, with that, we hope you enjoy our podcast. Keep on the lookout for episode 1, 2, and who knows how many, hopefully 150.
Hopefully
We'll have a party.
50.
Yeah. Now we're haunted. Before we close things out, here's a sneak peek into next week's episode.
Poe was known to wear a black wool suit. If you've ever seen a picture of the guy, he has some crazy hair and a black wool suit. He's a pretty dapper fellow, aside from the hair. Interestingly, when he was found, however, it didn't appear that he was in his own clothes. He was in a cheap suit. Whatever that is, the difference between a cheap suit and a wool suit.
So
but
he was
in
an
a...
imposter.
Fuck.
How much would it cost to put Steve down?
So the goal of these lobotomies was to reduce the number of patients in asylums and just get them back out into society. And there were reportedly over 4,000 lobotomies performed at the then Weston State Hospital. Most of them were performed by a doctor named Walter Freeman, and doctor is used very liberally here. And he preferred what was called the ice pick method. So
Ooh.
a lot of lobotomies that you've heard, they would go in through the nasal cavity and go in, and that was how. So he designed this method so that, in his words, and I'll get to this later, in his words, this could be performed quickly by anyone, anywhere. And this is the method where a sharp instrument resembling an ice pick is inserted into the eye socket. A hammer is then used to force the pick into the brain and sever that connection inside the prefrontal cortex. And that's all for the intro. We hope you enjoyed this and the sneak peek for next week's episode. I hope you join us then. Just remember, once you've listened, you become one of us. And now, we're all haunted.